Maharaj, where the aspect of worshipping the Lord is highlighted. And we'll see there are like some instructions that Prithu Maharaj gives to his citizens, and some instructions he will receive from great personalities. And that we will see. So Prithu Maharaj, he was like when he came back home, like from that yajna, so he was well received by all his citizens, and his city, like I mentioned, that he was the first person to develop all the wonderful cities in this world. So, and the beauty of his city that was mentioned here, and then like how all the citizens, they are all wonderfully welcoming him. So that is mentioned here. He was like, everyone was very much pleased with the qualities of Prithu, and they are all welcoming here. He has attained very widespread. So now Vidura, Maitreya Muni Vidura has asked for further describing the qualities of Prithu. So Prithu Maharaj, how he nicely rules, that is mentioned. He was like always ruling very nicely, and he is like he is like everyone gave him all respect, and he has a control over everyone except two personalities. They are like Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. So that means Prithu Maharaj always had the respect for Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, because they were all Brahmanas, they were all representing the Vedas, and Vaishnavas because they are they are gurus for uh, worshipping the Lord, various mantras which are used in worshipping the Lord. In this way, he is worshipping the Lord. So in that way, he was giving respect. So one time he started a sacrifice. So in that, all the devatas and all the brahmanas and all the saintly persons, everyone assembled. So in that assembly, he started addressing the people. So in general, Prithu Maharaj is very, very beautiful. His beautiful form is described. He was like very giant. He was very thick arms, fair complexion. He has like lotus eyes. So in that way, very, very beautiful. And he started speaking. So in that speech, his speech is mentioned. How his speech has several qualities. Charuchitrapradam slakšnam mrishtam gudam aviklabham sarvesham upakaradam tada anuvadhannivam. So his speech has these wonderful qualities. Charu is like he is their speech is like very, very attractive. And Chitrapadam, they are all flowery, means it has lot of ornaments in it, like very nice words with beautiful syllables. Slakshnam, it is very faultless, it is very clear. Mrishtam, and it has like very easy to understand. And Gudam is like it is also very deep meaning. And Aviklavam, it is like uh, without any, it is very easy to understand, like that. Sarvesham upakaradham, and that is also, his speech is also for the benefit of all the people. So he started speaking in that way. So in that way, Prithu Maharaj's speech is highlighted, where there are several aspects in which that one speech is considered to be very, very nice. Those are all aspects that are given here. It is like beautiful. It has like metaphors, so many metaphors, and also clearly understandable and very pleasing to hear. It is very grave and certain, and it is all for the benefit of everyone. So these are all the wonderful qualities of Prithu Maharaj that is addressing. So he started instructing his citizens. In his instructions to his citizens, he highlights several aspects and especially to worshipping the Lord. So he is a great king, as I said, and a great king has a responsibility of especially leading the people in dharmic, like a dharmic way, right? So he was speaking. He said that you are all saintly persons who are gathered here, and in the presence of great persons or in the presence of devotees, we should discuss about the principles of dharma, which are needs to be carefully considered. That means, like when, in the assembly of saintly persons, when we discuss what is dharma, what is adharma, so then those principles are rightly established. So that's why I am discussing. So like that he addresses, and especially I am situated as a uh, king who has given the responsibility as the punishing wrongdoers, and also the responsibility of protecting all the citizens, and also I have the responsibility of giving occupations to you, all of you, and I have to establish several rules so that everyone follows their occupations. So for executing my all these duties, like by doing all these things, actually I will be able to fulfill my own desires, and also I will please the Lord. So this is how I will benefit by executing these duties of protecting and giving the task of executing everyone's dharma. So in this way, I will please the Lord and I will also be pleased. And if I simply collect taxes and do not protect the citizens, and especially I have the duty of instructing the citizens or teaching the citizens about the principles of dharma. So how a king execute the principles of dharma? That is, that one is like inducing everyone to perform their occupational duties, sacrifices, but also one more means of doing that is the giving dharma siksha. So that is what he is doing here. I will now give about the teaching. I will now teach about the principles of dharma. So if I just collect taxes without giving these teachings, then I will lose my own good fortune and I will suffer the sins of my citizens. So king, but on the other hand, uh, if you nicely perform your dharma and you execute worship, if you execute this dharma, actually you will show great mercy to me towards me. If you are always thinking about the mercy of the Lord and worshipping the Lord and executing dharma, actually you are doing favor to me. And the like I want to, I request that all these people assembled here, they will approve of whatever I am suggesting, because in general for any activity, to get success or to the result of any activity is shared by several people. Like one who is performing, that person, either it is sinful activity or pious activity, dharmic activity or adharmic activity. So several persons will share the result of an activity. One is the person who is doing. So if he is doing good activity, he will also get result, and bad activity he will also get. But also, apart from the doer, one who directs that person to do that activity, he will also get the result because he directed that person to do that. Either it is sinful or pious. And also one more person is, that is approver. That means if someone is agreeing or approving that act, So he will also get pious activity, pious results, and also the negative results also. So in this way, so therefore you all approve of these duties that I am suggesting. So now what is the duty? He mentions that you all should worship the Supreme Lord. So that is the main duty is, because he is the master of all the sacrifices. And according to, like, in order to worship that supreme authority, we should know that there is a first there is a supreme lord, right? So he wants to say that there is a supreme lord. How? There is a supreme lord that he wanted to establish. So what he says is that there are some many authorities who say that there is a supreme lord who is the master of all the sacrifices. He exists. So how he says that there is a supreme lord? Because we can observe in this life and in the next life, there are several there are several personalities who are having beautiful bodies with so many wonderful facilities. So, and also we'll see there are personalities who doesn't have wonderful, like these all these facilities. So that is all because, like, previous lives, based on their activities, based on the pious activities or impious activities, one is one is like acquiring their resultant results. So that's why some are having nice facilities, beautiful bodies, beautiful results, but some are having other results. So that means someone is orchestrating this one, who will get what. So in that way, there is a conclusion that only because there is Supreme Lord who is who is providing some people some things and some people not uh, these things based on their past karma. So therefore, mm, therefore, therefore, it is concluded that when one worships the Supreme Lord, there is difference in result between some people, and so that means he is basically saying that based on seeing the differences in different people, their facilities, their different things they have attained, we can observe that someone is directing everyone. And also, this is main important thing, how he concludes is that great personalities like Manu, Uttanapada, Dhruva, Priyavrata, Anga, Brahma, Shiva, Prahlad, and Bali. So all these personalities, great personalities, they are establishing this thing, that they are all saying that they are all by Lord's mercy they have attained all these things, and they are saying that the Supreme Lord exists, and all the results that one achieves in this world, like dharma, artha, kama, or Swarga and Moksha. So these are in general, there are different goals everyone is looking. Someone may be noticing them in terms of different terms, or someone may not be noticing. For example, some persons, their whole life is to earn some wealth. So they must, like, they are so fixed in earning well that some people may say that, oh, they don't even enjoy, their only goal is to earn money. Or some people goal is only to earn fame, like they don't even worry about wealth or they don't even worry about enjoyment. They only think that they will think that gaining fame is the ultimate gain. So that's how they will work. Everything they see in terms of whether I get good name or I will get bad name. Or some people, they don't care about fame or they don't care about wealth. Their only goal is to enjoy here in this life. That is kama. So that means, like, they may not term that adharma, the kama, moksha, these are certain Vedic terms. But if we observe in general in this world, everyone is having these goals. Some people having the goal of artha, some people having the goal of kama, some people having the goal of fame, and some people, no, I want to live peacefully, dharmically, and whatever it may be, I should not cause anyone's harm to anyone. So like that, some people live. So that means their aim of life is like kind of dharma. Or some people who like followers of Vedas, they understand by observing this world and by studying Shastra that there is a place called Swarga. Here in this world also, there are different places where the enjoyment is different in different places. So by studying Vedic scriptures, they also understand that there is a place called Swarga where the enjoyment is more. So they want to go to that place. So that is like aiming for Swarga by performing sacrifices. And some people like by like going in deep into this world understands that there is a like Swarga is also temporary. After some time, Swarga will also end. And but this nature of this world, even if I go to Swarga, even if I achieve good world, there is a four problems always exist. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi. Old age, death, birth, and the disease. So these four problems I cannot avoid. But if I achieve liberation, means complete freedom from suffering, moksha, so then that is like that is the and freedom from suffering, as well as there is an enjoyment there of the soul, Brahmananda. So that is like moksha. So that is like one more goal. But the ultimate goal that Bhagavatam suggests is that one more goal is like prema pumatto mahan, that is achieving the love for the Supreme Lord, which is like natural hankering of the soul, like which is like original constitutional situation where soul is said to be part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. By understanding the nature of the Supreme Lord and loving the Lord, one can achieve the bhakti ananda, where the pleasure of bhakti, worshipping the Lord, serving the Lord, that is more prominent. And that is like Pranchama Purushartha, and that is said to be Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be the ultimate goal, like that is the supreme goal one can aim for, loving the Supreme Lord, Prema. So that one should always be aiming for. So all these goals, even if it is the Artha, Kama in this world, everything is generally, everything in this world is awarded only when the Lord sanctions it. Otherwise, no one will get even Artha also, no one will get Kama also, and other goals that they are having. So all these are given by the Supreme Independent Lord. So therefore, all these, yeah. So therefore, it is like it's very it is like even if they might have worshipped the Lord in this life or previous life, because of that everyone is achieving different results. So therefore, if one wants to situate in the uh, ultimate ultimate goal or achieve supreme auspiciousness, so one should always worship the Lord. What will happen if one worship the Lord? By worshipping the Lord, one's mind will be purified. Yat pada seva biruchistapasvinam ashesha janmopachitam malam deham sadyakshinoti anvahamedati sati yatha padhangushta vinishrushta sari. Just like the Lord's from Lord's lotus feet, the Ganges will come and it purifies the three worlds. Similarly, when one has the inclination to serve the lotus feet of the Lord, from so many lifetimes we might have acquired so many sinful tendencies in our mind. So all these things will be cleaned up. So generally, any wrong activity if someone performs, there are two things that will happen. One is that one will acquire some sinful reaction for that wrong activity. But more than that, the sinful inclination to perform that wrong activity again will be stored in chitta. So that's why people will again and again commit that mistake or commit that sinful activity, and that will become like an habit. So, but all those tendencies will be cleansed if one have an inclination to serve the lotus feet of the Lord. So that is how bhakti purifies. And when one in this way, one who takes shelter of that lotus feet, the so many that those sinful inclinations are all the tendencies to enjoy, they will be cleared up, and in this way he will not again fall into samsara, which is always giving troubles to people. So in this way he will be cleansed. So in this way they will not again come back to the material life when their heart is completely purified. So therefore it is always better to perform devotional service, and like while executing your duties, at the same time you can render devotional service by your mind, body and words to the Supreme Lord. So in this way, this is like it will give lot of auspiciousness in one's life. And the Lord himself, he only provides like for everyone the mind, the body, words, and he only awards the results of sacrifices, and everyone they receive in this world. So therefore it is always the better to perform sacrifices. Sacrifices means in general, in previous ages they used to perform fire sacrifices and other sacrifices, so that they will achieve the, like they are acknowledging the presence of the Lord and the devatas who are providing everyone in this world, and they are kind of reciprocating with them, like saying thank you, or like reciprocating. That is the procedure of sacrifice that is mentioned in the previous ages, where they will, like they offer various things they attain in this world back to all the devatas and the Supreme Lord. So all these sacrifices are also their results and everything that will also come from the Supreme Lord only. So that one can understand. And when all the citizens they are heard that these instructions of that worshipping the Supreme Lord, everyone agreed to perform sacrifices. So he is saying that you are all very favorable to me, therefore you have agreed to worship the Lord. So you, while performing your occupational duties, you like you also continue to worship the Lord. That is my instruction, like that he is worshipping. And uh, after instructing everyone to worship the Lord in this way, he warns all the citizens about one particular thing, that is not to like always giving respect to Brahmanas and Vaishnavas and never offending them. So that he highlights, because bhakti in general comes from Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, but also like bhakti can be destroyed by if one offends Vaishnavas or Brahmanas. So therefore, in order to formally establish that bhakti, he gives full instructions on how to showing respect to them. So he says that even if one has great wealth, even if one is Kshatriya, royal family, one should not exert their power over Vaishnavas and Brahmanas, because like here Brahmanas and Vaishnavas means the qualities that they exhibit, that they are always having the tolerant austerity with knowledge, they are completely situated. So therefore, because they are having these wonderful qualities, they should all be respected. And they are also worshipping the Supreme Lord Even even the Supreme Lord also, by worshipping their feet, he has attained great fame, and he is able to purify the whole universe. Even the Lord has attained his reputation because of the Brahmanas. And by just by serving the Brahmanas or Vaishnavas, the Lord, who is situated in everyone's heart, he will be completely satisfied and fulfill all their desires. So therefore, who are all following dharma and good conduct, they should always serve the Brahmanas with all their heart. And by serving them, one will quickly achieve even liberation, and they will achieve satisfaction of the mind. And even the by feeding Brahmanas, but the Brahmanas are said to be the mouth of the Lord. By feeding the Brahmanas, the Lord will be satisfied, and the Lord, in fact, he will be more pleased to eat through the mouth of the Brahmanas than in the fire sacrifices. In fire, many people offer many sacrifices, ghee and other things. But more than the fire sacrifice, if one feeds the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, the Lord takes great pleasure in honoring them. So therefore, and because with these Brahmanas, all these have these qualities of faith, austerity, proper conduct, silence. So, and they always propagate the Vedic knowledge. So therefore, you should, I, I will, even though I am the king, I will carry their their dust from their lotus feet on my head. So therefore, it is very important to show proper respect to them. In this way, he says, and anyone who pleases them, and one who pleases the followers of the Lord, Brahmanas and cows, they will be those persons. I will be very much pleased with them, and they will attain all the wealth of good qualities, wealth of good conduct, gratitude, and also they will be able to serve the elders. So whoever serves Vaishnavas, Brahmanas, and cows, I will be I will be very pleased with them. So in this way, there is an always importance of the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas and cows that is mentioned in the Vedic culture. So in this way, when he was praising, he was giving Dharma Siksha, all the citizens, they appreciated the words of Prithu Maharaj, and they said that your father, he has attained heaven because of your presence. Although your father Vena is a sinful person, but since you have nicely ruling, because of that, you have delivered your son from hell to heaven. So that is the glory of you. And just like Prahlad Maharaj has delivered Hiranyakashipu, you also delivered your father. And today we have attained great fortune because of receiving these wonderful instructions from you. So in this way, citizens also respected Prithu Maharaj, and they also that we will continue to offer respects to the Supreme Lord as well as Brahmanas and Vaishnavas because of your instructions. Definitely we will follow your instructions. So like that, citizens also agreed to worship, to these wonderful instructions. So this is how Prithu Maharaj, as a king, he is directing. So in this way, while Prithu Maharaj was instructing, because he is nicely describing about the glories, the great saintly personalities like Chatush Kumaras have arrived there. So previously, the Lord has also promised that great personalities will come to your house. So in that way, the great personality, these Chatush Kumaras, they are all like they are sons of Brahma. Although they are sons of Brahma, they are eldest of all the people. So they always situated themselves as a 4-year-old child. So they look like child, but they are like very, very elderly persons. So when they have arrived, Prithu Maharaj understood their glory, immediately he rose from his seat and he was very eager to receive. These four Kumaras are like shining like sun, their effulgence, by their effulgence. And recognizing them, immediately he rose from his seat. And just like he rose, one example is quoted, just like a conditioned soul, he will be like, as soon as some sense gratification is there, he will be very much afflicted and want to receive them. Similarly, he was like immediately attracted to these saintly personalities. So it is like when a uh, like when elders approach, when elders approach, it is mentioned that life air sometimes goes above, and if someone doesn't like respect, like if someone stands up, so that is like their life airs will again return to their body. But if someone is not showing that respect, the life airs will go away. And that is like indirectly it is saying that if some great personalities or elders approach, like one should stand up and show respect. In that sense, there it is mentioned. So Prithu Maharaj was very, very happy to receive them. He lowered his uh, head and shoulders with great respect. He worshipped them. So previously, just before now, he is instructing all the citizens to worship the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. And now he is practically demonstrating how when the great personalities like Chatush Kumara has come, he is himself very eager to receive and show a lot of respect to them. And he started addressing that it is very good fortune that you great personalities that I have seen you, what previous austerities or dharma that I have followed, that I am able to see you. Your darshan is even rare for great yogis, but I am able to see you. That is my good fortune. And so even if a person receives the great fortune of a great souls, then that person, what benefit he will not achieve. Whatever benediction he want in this life or next life, he will easily receive that favor if one attain the favor of Lord, if one attain the grace of Brahmanas or Lord Shiva or Lord Vishnu. So therefore, uh, even if people in general, even if you travel, they will not be able to see you. But just like Paramatma, no one is able to see you. So, but just to give some good fortune to people like us who are in this world, in this householder life, you have appeared here. So we are very fortunate. But people, like he says, that people who receive saintly persons in their houses, they are like very, very fortunate. And people who respect saintly persons and give their water, or even if they are poor, they can offer some water, they can offer some grass or air. So everything they can, like our tears in their eyes, they can receive. So they are very, very fortunate who are willing to receive. But on the other hand, if they are not able to, they are not respecting Vaishnavas, are not able to receive. So their houses, they are he compares them to a trees who give shelter to snakes. So in that sense, like he is appreciating the presence of this thing, and he welcomes them very nicely. And then he says that, like generally when some persons we meet, we ask, the first question that we ask is that, how are you, right? So here he is not asking how are you, or are you nice, because he says that there is no need to ask about your welfare, because you are always situated in welfare, because you are always worshipping the Lord. So therefore, now I only ask for the welfare of ourselves. So is there any welfare that we can gain in this world? So like in this way, he is asking for the welfare of himself, and also is there any welfare for all our citizens? So please tell us how in this world people are suffering. What is the means of welfare them? So therefore, please mention. And it is certainly that Supreme Lord has shown mercy towards me, and because of that, I am able to see you. And also, Lord moves in this world in the form of saintly devotees in order to show mercy to everyone. So in this way, he nicely addressed and very happily received them. So when like he is demonstrating how to receive great personalities. So in this way, the Prudumara's speech appreciating them, which is like very speech concise and meaningful, very appropriate. So hearing all these things, the Sanat Kumara was very much satisfied, because he's like very respecting and very sweetly, with a lot of meaning he is speaking. So Sanat Kumar was very happy and he started speaking. He started speaking that you are actually thinking about the welfare of all the citizens. Therefore, you are asking what is welfare, how they will all my citizens can achieve welfare. So these are all very beneficial questions. So, and this is the mind of a great personality, great devotees. They always want to think what will benefit all the people. So, and like
Maharaj,
the
Gaurav,
discussion between the how like in the assembly of devotees, where people are hearing and speaking, these discussions are very important, because this will bestow the auspiciousness to both the parties, speakers and hearers, and also whoever hears. So in this way, and also your great fortune is that you are always uh, situated in the worship of the Lord. Therefore, that worship or attachment to that worship of the Lord will always remove the contamination in the heart. So in this way, everyone, this is the wonderful situation. And like, since you have asked what is the benefit for all the people, so in the Shastras, when we consider, there are the two benefits will achieve for all the human beings when they achieve detachment from the body, bodily conception of life, like not identifying with the body, and when they achieve attachment to the Supreme Lord. Like in this way, these are the uh, two benefits that people achieve. This is the real benefit anyone can acquire. All other benefits are like kind of temporary. But this benediction, if someone has achieved the detachment from identification with the body, bodily conception of life, like I am this body, I am this mind, I am this senses, I want to enjoy my senses. So all these conceptions, when he is freed and situated in his original situation, in the attachment to the Lord as a soul, so that is like actual benefit everyone can gain. So how uh, like uh, how one will achieve that attachment to the Lord? So that he mentions that attachment one will achieve by faith, by sa shraddhaya, and then Bhagavad Dharmacharya, by worshipping the Lord, and by jijnasaya, by with being inquisitive about how to worship the Lord, or about the spiritual life, being inquisitive about spiritual life, and by in that way, by situating in the steadiness in yoga, and by worshipping the great yogis, and by hearing the great glories of the Supreme Lord. In this way, by regularly following this, and also one should be like one should be very much inclined to associate with the Lord, and kind of not associating with the people whose life only gain is to attain some wealth, or attain to enjoy the senses. If one should not be associating in that with them. Association means not like interacting with them, but not accepting their goals, not accepting their goals of sense enjoyment, or attaining wealth. That is not the only goal. So the goal is to achieve the Lord. So therefore, like they are said to be that like material things. So therefore, not accepting those goals. And one should have some taste for solitary living, and one should not live in their life in such a way that they should not be able to live without hearing the glories of the Supreme Lord. So this is very wonderful instruction that Chatush Kumaras are giving. Vina harer guna piyusha panat. One should mold their life in such a way that they should be always somehow hearing the glories of the Lord's topics. So like there may be there will be like so many other things we can do, but one should like just like we can do so many things now, but we have dedicated some time at least in a week to hear at least the glories of the Lord, hearing Bhagavatam. So one should not one should mold their life in such a way to hear the Lord's topics. So there were like so many hundred things we can do, but still we are dedicating some time to hear and chant about the Lord. So that is how one should mold their life on the centered on the Lord's topics. So this like this also a sacrifice. Hearing and chanting is also a sacrifice, because we are sacrificing so many other things, right? Like so many things we have to adjust in our day to hear about the Lord. All these things we are sacrificing and dedicating time to hear and glorify the Lord. So this is also a great sacrifice, hearing about the Bhagavatam. So one should mold their life on such a way that they should not be able to live without hearing and chanting about the Lord's topics. So that is how one should mold. And also ahimsaya. So this is one quality that is again and again highlighted, that one should not harm, create harm towards anyone. And paramahamsacharya, by following the great personalities, how they are following, one should follow. And also one should always remember the lotus feet of the Lord, which is like nectar. It is always, whenever someone remembers the lotus feet of the Lord, it is always compared to nectar. That means one will, if one starts meditating on the lotus feet, they will experience that nectar in their hearts. So that is how great sages have confirmed that. And also following the rules and rules and regulations, and also like uh, like not criticizing so much others, not criticizing others. That is also one of the principle. Anindaya. One may have some wonderful discussions, but unnecessarily not engaging in some vitandavada like that. And also not having so many material desires, living simply, and tolerating dualities. In this world, there will be always dualities. There will be sukha, dukkha, mana, apamana, happiness, distress, respect and disrespect. So all these things will be there. Sitoshna, uh, lot of heat and lot of cold. So these things will always be there in this world. One should be able to tolerate all these things. And by hearing again and again, one should fill their ears about the wonderful qualities of the Supreme Lord Hari. And one should be get detached from all the three modes. In this way, when he completely practices, then he will be situated in the Brahman platform, identifying, or situated from apart from the body, he will be nicely situated in the original position as the soul. So in this way, when one has this attachment to the Lord, then that attachment will actually leads to rati, and that rati, I mean prema for the Lord, and by that rati prema one will attain jnana, vairagya, and everything. By that one will be able to destroy the subtle body. The subtle body, this identification with our mind, intelligence, and ego is very difficult to give up. So that can be only possible by developing mm, attachment to the Lord, which will arise jnana, vairagya. That way, one will be able to destroy the subtle body. When that subtle body or that is like kind of dissolved, one will no longer get agitated by external sense objects or internal disturbances. So generally, when we are like when some objects are there, object of sense gratification, two way it can disturb us. One is like when they come in contact with our senses, so that time one can get disturbed. Or even if they are not come in contact with our senses, because our chitta, our mind has those impressions of sense gratification. So they may also sometimes arise in our chitta. So in both ways, one can get disturbed by sense gratification. So, but when one purifies one subtle body, uh, by bhakti, he will be able to see the Paramatma in their heart, and he will no longer disturbed by these sense objects either externally or internally. And when one no longer gets disturbed by these sense objects, he will not be he will be able to completely perceive the Supreme Lord, and he will like whatever the results like happiness or distress, all these things he will not be able to perceive. He will only be able to see the Paramatma, Supreme Lord, and he is like he is completely he is situated in that soul platform. That is how he will be developed. So in the like he also highlights the mm, like the how one should always he should not get deviated to the sense gratification. By his discriminating power, he should always situated in the uh, identify himself with the soul as a platform of self-realization. So that, but when always thinking about senses or sense objects, then his discrimination power will be lost. So when that discrimination power, if someone is always meditating on senses or sense objects, how to enjoy, so that thinking or ruminating about that, this is discrimination will be lost and memory will be destroyed. And then with that memory, knowledge will be destroyed, and that will lead himself to a lose of destruction of the self itself. So therefore, for every embodied soul, the Atma is so much dear, and like if one knowledge gets destroyed, there is a destruction of the there is a lot of loss, because he will not be able to understand that he is soul apart from the body. So in this way, therefore, one should not always meditate on the sense objects, but should always situate himself in jnana and vijnana. In this way, he will not undergo this samsara. And even dharma, the kama, they will also ultimately will not benefit. Only the moksha is the ultimate benefit, because other things are temporary. So therefore one should try for moksha. So like all other things, even if we achieve Swarga also, that is like temporary. Therefore one should meditate on that moksha. So how like therefore understanding the goal is to attain moksha or attain the Supreme Lord. So perform bhakti towards the Lord. Just by worshipping the Lord, the all other processes like jnana or yoga, by that they may clean to some extent, but they will not completely uproot the tendencies. But like it is said that the tendencies in our heart, wrong tendencies, they are compared to kashaya, like some very difficult to remove. For example, if any clothes, if they are uh, like afflicted with some strong uh, color, it will be very difficult to remove, right? Even after repeated washing of those clothes, right? So similarly, this wrong tendencies in the heart, they are said to be like kashaya, which is difficult. But only when one serves the Supreme Lord, by that only one can remove this kashaya. Yat pada pankaja palasha vilasa bhaktya. By that bhakti, that karma shayam, that tendency to enjoy in the heart, that will be uprooted from the root. Otherwise, it is very, very difficult to remove that wrong tendencies. Therefore, this world is compared to like repeated sufferings, that material ocean, that will be only by worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord one can cross over this material world. It is said that the material sense gratification, they are compared to the waves of a river. They will never stop. But when the rivers merge into the ocean, so like ocean has so many waves. When the river merge into ocean, the river's waves will no longer any strong in compared to ocean's waves. Similarly, the material desires will never stop. If one artificially tries to stop the desires of material, it will never stop. But when we direct those same material desires in the service of the Supreme Lord, then they will automatically diverted. Automatically, one will be all the material desires will go away, and the desires to serve the Lord, that happiness one will achieve. So that is the main lesson, that in general in Bhagavad Gita also it is said that unless one attains the higher taste, he will not be able to give up the lower taste. So that means like unless we start practicing bhakti and experience that bhakti's pleasure in our heart, we artificially, like we may try so many things to give up sense gratification, that will not work. Only the way to work to get detachment, complete detachment from material sense gratification, is to genuinely developing bhakti and attaining that taste. By attaining that higher taste, one will be able to give up the lower taste. For example, if some object, if some eatable is there, which is like forbidden, so we will not be able to, if we meditate on that object, oh, I should not eat, and then we will not be able to give up that. But we get some higher object, higher eatable, which is more tasty and more healthier. So then we will be able to give up the lower taste. Similarly, for sense gratification to give up, only way is to worshipping the Lord and gaining the higher taste. By experiencing that higher taste, one will be give up this lower taste, and one will easily able to cross over this material world. So in this way, they have given wonderful instructions. Prithu Maharaj was very happy, and he praises them that actually Lord Vishnu has predicted previously that great personalities will come. Now his blessings have come uh, true, that you have appeared. So how can I repay to you? You have given such wonderful offerings. In fact, whatever I have, that is only the mercy of Brahmanas and Vaishnavas only I have got. So therefore, I cannot offer anything in return to you. So even if someone thinks that I can repay their debt, he is subjected to the laughing stock. Like you have given Atmavada, the wonderful instructions on the soul and about the Lord, and the wonderful Vedic instructions. So I cannot repay by anything. Please be satisfied with whatever you have, because even if some person thinks that I can repay the depth of these wonderful instructions, he is subjected to the Vinoda Patram. Vinoda Patram means he becomes the laughing stock of the people. So please be satisfied. In this way, he addresses them. So hearing that, Kumaras, they are also satisfied and they leave to their places. In this way, how Prithu Maharaj instructing citizens and how he is also receiving instructions from the Kumaras. Those are all mentioned. In this way, Prithu Maharaj was always fixed in bhakti and he always performed his duties to satisfy the Lord. And he always thought that he was a servant of the Lord. And although he was attained so much glory in this world, he was never affected by that glory. And in this way, he produced several sons and he always pleased the citizens. This way, wonderful qualities of Prithu Maharaj were mentioned. So we will continue this discussion, how he attains the liberation in his next life. And also we will discuss Rudra Gita in our next section. So yesterday we celebrated Radhashtami also. So Radhashtami is the appearance of Radharani. So Supreme Lord Krishna, he is the Bhagavan. He is the all the wonderful opulences he has. So the Supreme Lord, he he enjoys in himself, and then he expands himself as a his own expansion as Srimati Radharani, and he is like Radharani is said to be the pleasure potency of the Lord, his internal expansion only. And the in relation to the Lord, she is the pleasure giving potency to the Supreme Lord. And for all the jivas, she is like the mother. Like all the jivas, like all of us, our devotional service will be directed to the Supreme Lord Krishna through her grace. So that's how she acts like a mother, and all our devotional service reaches to Krishna through her. So that is the glory of Srimati Radharani. So in our temples, we will worship Radha and Krishna together. We also address Krishna as Sri Krishna. That Sri is also referring to the internal potency. So just like Krishna has different forms like Narayana, Rama. So Radharani is also having all these different forms like Lakshmi, Sita. So they're all non-different personalities. So that's how we celebrate the great appearances of Radhashtami in our life. We can also pray. And when we are chanting Hare Krishna, that Hare is referring to addressing to Srimati Radharani. Hare Krishna is like we are addressing Radharani, O Krishna, please engage in your devotional service, so that we will be situated in our constitutional position. So this way, I'll stop here. If anyone wants to add something or anything discussion, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll end here.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for joining.
Thank you. We have to become the Guruji Maharaj. Try to become Guruji Maharaj possible.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
So we will end here. Chandra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you.
Thank you.